Hello, Instagram, YouTube, Dana K here. Super excited today. Oh my gosh, I've got some great stuff to talk about. What if I told you the problem isn't your child or your child's ADHD, but the guesswork, the outdated systems, the band aid solutions, and the fact that most parents are flying blind trying to manage ADHD without ever getting to the why? The why that child is struggling, the why that those symptoms are so strong. Okay. But there is a lab testing site backed by over 400 scientists, engineers, and doctors that's helping families finally get real answers. No fluff, no generic protocols, just cold, hard data, or as you would say in America, data about underlying stresses inside the body. Now, the lab's called Vibrant Wellness. And when I visited their facility recently, I was absolutely blown away. Okay. Guys, let me know in the chat if you've ever heard of Vibrant Wellness, if you've ever done lab testing, functional lab testing for your child with ADHD. Now, I wasn't just blown away by the science, though their tech is like literally cutting edge, but by their mission to uncover what's really going on inside our kiddos' bodies before things spiral out of control. And I know that when my son was really, really struggling, he was spiraling out of control. Our family was spiraling out of control. Thanks for sharing, Madeline. For families raising kids with ADHD, this is a complete game changer. Now, I just want to say, if we haven't met, my name is Dana Kay. I'm a board certified health and nutrition practitioner, and I've worked with more than 1,500 families across the USA and across the rest of the world to reduce ADHD symptoms without relying on this guesswork. And trust me, once you have the right data, everything changes. So I hope you'll stick around for this live training, or if you're watching the replay, just stick around to the end, because I'm going to share my absolute favorite functional lab tests that we use through Vibrant Wellness. Now, you don't want to miss these, so you want to get a pen and paper and write them down. Now, when my son was first diagnosed, I was told basically one thing, and I want you guys to tell me in the chat if this was told to you as well. I was told basically one thing: medication. That's it. Okay. No one said, let's test his gut. No one asked about nutrition. No one asked about inflammation or detox. No one looked beneath the surface. In fact, when I brought gut health up to my son's pediatrician, he actually said to me, just get this, don't bother. None of that works. I wonder, for those tuning in, have you guys experienced similar things? Let me know in the chat, where your doctor just didn't think gut health could be playing a part. Yep, medication. Thank you for sharing. Now, let me know. I want you guys to let me know if you've experienced something similar, like if you ask them about nutrition, if you ask them about gut health, or if you ask them about supplements. This is why I do the work that I do now, because I did look deeper. And what we found changed my son's life. It changed all of our lives. So I want to break it down, what I saw at the Vibrant Wellness Lab and why it matters so much for your family as well. Now, there are a lot of functional lab testing facilities out there, but Vibrant Wellness, I don't know, it's different. Most labs wait until disease is already there, okay? Vibrant Wellness aims to detect the imbalances before they explode into symptoms. They look for things like microscopic inflammation. She said diet does not affect behavior. There you go, 100%. I can tell you that 1,000% it does. They look for things like nutrient blocks. They look at immune dysfunction, all picked up before your child melts down at school or forgets every direction or can't fall asleep at night. And they are CLIA certified, they're CAP certified, and they're licensed in New York as well. And the reason I say that is this state is the strictest state in the US, and they don't allow a lot of labs to be licensed in New York. And so this means that they meet the highest standard in lab testing, in accuracy, and in quality control. Now, in the world of functional medicine, not every company is operating at that level, or at the level it should be. But after seeing it firsthand, I don't know, it gave me this just such deep excitement, and just confidence in knowing they are a quality lab. They're definitely operating at the level that they should be. Now, I want to talk about real life impact, okay? There are 3 labs that I use for nearly every ADHD family that I work with. And as I said, I've worked with over 1,500. And that was when I counted it, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months ago. So I don't know what that number is now. But the 3 labs that I use with nearly everyone, I've got access to way more than that. But these are the tools that really sort of turn the symptoms into clarity, knowing what's actually going on underneath. The first one is called an organic acid test. Think of it kind of like your child's internal dashboard. It shows nutrient levels, it shows detox pathways, gut bacteria, yeast, mitochondrial function, neurotransmitters, and so much more. Mold is another thing that it shows. And this is often where we find the root of what's actually driving the ADHD symptoms. Now, the second test that we use is called a wheat zoomer. ZOOMER. I have to always spell it because in America, I don't pronounce it the way that it's meant to be. Zoomer, if I was to say it in American. Now, forget basic gluten tests. Forget just normal food sensitivity panels. I can tell you that I've seen hundreds of food sensitivity panels that never showed up gluten, but then I ran a wheat zoomer, and this one detects them at the peptide level reactions. What was that test called again? We've got a wheat zoomer and an organic acid test. Hope that helps. And the wheat zoomer, as I said, it detects gluten down to the peptide level. So it also detects leaky gut. It even looks for pre-celiac indicators. And so many ADHD kids are reactive to gluten, but it often goes miss if you use just a general food sensitivity panel. As I said, I've run probably thousands of this wheat zoomer alongside food sensitivity panels. And I can tell you that gluten will show up in maybe a quarter of the food sensitivity panels, but I'd say about 95% of the cases, these kids are so highly reactive to gluten on the wheat zoomer. Think of it like this. Gluten is like the Lego masterpiece, okay? So you've got this Lego car masterpiece and it's made up of all of these little Lego pieces, okay? When we eat gluten, we eat the whole Lego masterpiece. So a food sensitivity panel is looking at the outer shell of that masterpiece. It's looking at that Lego car. But when it goes down into our gut, it gets broken down into all the little Lego pieces. And so what we're doing in the wheat zoomer, we're looking at all those little Lego pieces, okay? We're seeing if they're reactive to all those different Lego pieces, okay? This test is getting down to that level. Now, I do also love a food sensitivity panel test because it does look at other foods as well, up to 100 different foods. So we're getting a lot of things that are causing inflammation in the body. It's not looking at allergies, but it is looking at inflammatory reactions to certain foods. So it reveals the foods that your child's immune system is silently reacting to every single day. Brain Passion Kids, organic acid test, yes, and wheat zoomer, ZOOMER. Now, when our kids are inflamed, when their body is on fire, that could be the reason they're not sleeping, or why their focus crashes, or why their mood flips on a dime. So these 3 tests together really create a roadmap. Now, there are other tests that I add into it that don't come from Vibrant Wellness, but today we're talking about Vibrant Wellness. And these tests together, they really create that roadmap. That's no more guessing, no more throwing random supplements at the wall. between you and me, before I actually run tests on my son many, many years ago, I would have spent over $180,000 on random supplements, because here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud, but I say it a lot. You can't supplement your way out of ADHD. If the gut is inflamed, if nutrients aren't being absorbed, if detox pathways are clogged, no gummy vitamin, no fish oil by itself is going to fix that. And there is no magic diet that's going to fix that either. But when you have the right data, you can actually make changes that actually stick. Now, one mum told me her son went from daily meltdowns to not having meltdowns at all just weeks after adjusting his protocol based on the labs that we found. Now, another family finally uncovered the root of their daughter's anxiety. It was a massive yeast overgrowth, and not one single doctor had caught that before. This is what's possible when you actually just stop treating symptoms, you stop putting that Band-Aid on them, and you really start supporting biology. So if you feel like you've tried everything and nothing works, if you're exhausted or overwhelmed, or questioning yourself constantly, I can tell you that is where I was years ago, when I was going through this with my son before I went back and to school and did all of my training. You just haven't got the full picture yet. Functional lab testing changes that, and it's exactly what we teach in our free ADHD Thrive Masterclass. Now, if you haven't watched it yet, definitely want to invite you to take a peek, because the truth is our kids deserve more than symptom suppression. They deserve to thrive. We as a family deserve to thrive. You deserve to thrive. And these functional lab tests, they can help you get there. So if you haven't watched that masterclass, you can watch it today free. You just have to comment training, TRAINING, on this live in the comments. If you're watching the replay, you can also do that. I'm going to put it to the actual I'm going to put it to my feed. So just comment training here on this live or the replay, and we'll get it sent over to you via PM. So that's training, TRAINING. I see a couple of questions. Do you have any budget-friendly options, a way to help kids without dropping thousands? Look, I will tell you, yes, we do actually. We work with families in a number of different ways. We have our premium program, which includes all the testing and all the support and all of that. And then we also have a monthly membership, which is much more budget friendly, and you can pick and choose what tests you do. But I will say, and I'll give you a little piece of advice. When you do it piecemeal and you just do one test at a time, you actually end up spending a lot more money. And that's why I said, I have spent over $180,000 getting my son to where he is today. He's now 15 and a half. He's thriving. He hasn't been on meds for years, but we spend a lot just trying to get there. And so if you can just bulk a few of those tests, 3 or 4 of those tests together in one go, you get that whole picture. You can really reduce inflammation across the board and heal that gut and reduce that inflammation and help that child thrive. And then you're not needing to go back and do testing after testing after testing after testing. So if possible, try to swing it all in one go, because that will get you there faster. It'll actually get you there cheaper. But guys, remember, comment training on this live or on the replay. Thanks for watching. I hope this live has been helpful. And again, I'm Dana Kay, board certified health and nutrition practitioner. If you've got any questions about functional lab testing or the process for getting to, really getting to the bottom of what's driving your child's symptoms, I'm always happy to help. Send me a PM. But that's it for today. Hope you guys are well, and I'll talk with you all soon.